So I've been meaning to talk about this for a long time. I got the title for this video from an episode from House MD, the TV show. I haven't watched it since the ending aired a long time ago. So I've rewatched it recently, and in one episode, House, in his classic fashion, I don't know the context, but in some episode, House says something to the extent that life is a parade of sad banalities, right? And somehow, I missed this gem the first time I watched this show, right? I somehow missed it. But this time around, I paid attention, and it caught me off guard. I think I was a bit too young back then to understand the depth of this little gem here, right? So now I heard it. Life is a parade of sad banalities, and I was just awestruck. I was without words. It's like somebody finally explained life, as close to the truth as possible. Like, it all connected. It all flowed. Life is a parade of sad banalities, and it's just so juicy. It's just so delightful. I had to make a video about this topic, It's so rare that you stumble upon one of these truths that just tickle you just right. Like, when I heard this, I didn't need anything anymore. I was at peace. I was complete. I was perfected. I had ascended, right? Life is a parade of sad banalities. And once you understand this, once you admit, and once you accept it, right, there's no going back. The moment you accept this and admit it, you're free. You should be free. You don't have to cling on so tight to these, sad banalities. Most of the things that we occupy ourselves with are a bad joke. They're sad banalities. They're mundane. These lame occupations, right? And what's worse is that most people take these lame occupations so seriously, right? They take it so seriously, and the few exceptions that are priceless, that are so valuable, that should be cherished, even those are taken for granted. They are turned into commodities. They're not that significant anymore. They're irrelevant, right? All of the precious things that we should love dearly are just, something now. Generalized, trivialized, right? And the dumb shit, the lame shit, the goofy shit is elevated to, to the extreme and beyond. Aggrandized. Exaggerated, right? Most of the things we do, they're pointless. They're so silly, right? They don't mean anything. Most people, they can't stop themselves from being so obsessed with these silly little occupations, no matter what it is. Their lame-ass job, cleaning, doing the groceries, doing the taxes, I don't know, paying visits, whatever, paying bills, going for a stroll, the daily hygiene, whatever. They're almost fanatics, almost, with such zeal, such enthusiasm for the lamest of the lame, these sad banalities, chit-chat, of all things, is the greatest thing ever to these people, right? It's so banal. What they talk about is so banal, so sad. Even people's hobbies are, let's call them lackluster, right? And, watching the news, all of these things that waste our time. It doesn't matter what they are. You know what they are, right? People waste so much time of their lives on just the simple basic nonsense, right? They go shopping and it takes them forever to pick a pair of shoes or whatever. They go to a market and it takes them forever to pick some onions because they have to analyze every piece individually, right? And so on and so forth. These are just examples. You know what they are. When I heard this expression, this saying, life is a parade of sad banalities. It's like I was saved. I was liberated. It's like sometimes you have a notion, an idea in your head, but you cannot express yourself. You do not have the right words. But then out of nowhere, randomly, you stumble upon the sentence that you want to express. And this is one of them. Life is a parade of sad banalities. That's all you need in life. Listen, this is all you need in life. You don't need anything anymore. With this, by embracing this expression, you have all the education you need, right? You have all you need. You don't need anything anymore because now you know. Now you have the knowledge. Now you are educated. Now you are even enlightened, right? Because of this, because you accept this, because you accept the truth, now you finally know. And now you should feel relief. You shouldn't be bothered anymore. You shouldn't be worried anymore because life is a parade of sad banalities. Everything that we do, taking out the trash, people take it so seriously. Washing the dishes, I don't know, going on a date. All of these relationships that should be special are taken for granted, and they become these sad banalities. They become stereotypical. They become typical. They become cliches, right? It's a sad situation for most people, right? And this is because most people, they're empty on the inside, and they have to fill their time with this silly nonsense. Otherwise, they might just go insane. They might just go mad. They might lose their sanity and do something crazy. So they have to fill their lives with this gibberish, this nonsense, and they have to excel at it. They have to excel at the banalities, and they have to put it on a pedestal because, what else are they going to do, right? You can add whatever example you want. You know what they are. Most of the things in life are just so lame. So lame. They shouldn't occupy a person's, time, mental capacity. It's just going to school, for the most part, with few exceptions, is a waste of time. Whatever they so-called teach you there is absolutely pointless once you graduate, and etc., etc. Most people have these generic jobs, and they strive to involve themselves and immerse themselves in their lame-ass jobs instead of just doing the basic necessity and getting their paycheck and then enjoying life, right? Even when they get their vacation time, like in my country, it's just either you're gonna go to the mountains or you're gonna go to the beach. And people do this endlessly throughout their lives. Monotonous, repetitious, the same thing over and over again. And they treat it like it's the first time. They treat it like it's something stupendous, spectacular, sublime, right? And here I am wondering, like, it's just sand and water. It's just grass and trees. You've seen this. There's nothing to see. There's nothing out of the ordinary, right? Whatever for? When you have the comfort of your own home, when you can do whatever you want, relax, peace and quiet. That's the most important, folks. And people refuse, to do this. They would much rather, they would much rather just limp about and just deceive themselves with illusions and delusions about whatever. Doesn't matter. People watch the news, and they comment on videos constantly. They have opinions about the most banal thing possible, the most platitudinous, the most superficial stuff that shouldn't be, and of course, the greatest example is that billions of people are absolutely, aroused, excited by memes of the lowest caliber possible. Memes are it. Memes are God. Memes are religion. Memes are life itself. Memes are the creme de la creme. And they're so ew, they're so yucky, and people just can't get enough. It's like crack cocaine. And here I am sitting, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I simply don't get it. And I move on because it's so sad. All of this is sad, right? Anime now, it's not that I have anything against it. It's an art form, but now even the lamest of the lame, people are so captivated by it. They're so possessed by it, fascinated. Another sad banality in life. People think that, going to school is this great thing. People think that having friends and making new connections it's such a wonderful, thing that you should do, right? People think that going places and experiencing things is such a great thing. People think that being in a relationship is out of this world spectacular. People think that if they, bust enough nuts, they think that they've fulfilled something quintessential in life. People think that if they buy enough useless things and materials and possessions, they think that this will make them whole. This will make them happy, right? People think that if they engage in the online shit show, the online carnival, the online parade of just absolute garbage and trash, right? People think that if they get married and have a family and pursue whatever career, they think that all of these things and much more, they think that these errands, these affairs, these engagements are what a person should do, that it should be a goal, a purpose with meaning, that it has significance, that it has some relevancy, some potency. It's not so, folks. It's not so, right? You think that if you engage with your neighbors and if you talk about, I don't know, sports and you gossip about this and that, it's all so sad. It's all so beneath us for the most part. There are exceptions, but mostly it is absolutely pointless. Absolutely the lamest of the lame. Trash. The moment I stopped bothering myself with these silly, goofy occupations and topics and all of these endeavors that are absolutely the lowest of the low, the moment I stopped, the moment I ceased, I became 1,000,000,000% better. So happy, so at peace, so tranquil. I don't care, right? But when I was involved, immersed, dedicated, devoted to society, to community, to family, to what was happening in the world, you know, and all the others, when I was craving relationships, when I was chasing money, chasing purpose, chasing this, chasing that, chasing skirt, whatever, chasing that money, I was not happy. Even when I attained some of these things, really, I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't gratified, if we're being honest, right? And this is what I've observed. The people who actually get what they desire, when they have so much, it can be money, it can be, possessions, whatever, a good livelihood. They have everything that you crave. I've noticed this without exception, that most people who have more than you or I, they are absolutely miserable. They are bitter, salty people. And no matter how much they get, no matter how high they climb on the hierarchy, it will never be enough, and they will never stop, and they will never feel any satisfaction, right? Because all of these things, they are a parade of sad banalities, and we are the jesters, we are the buffoons, we are the clowns, we are the harlequins, okay? Throughout our lives, we delude ourselves, we deceive ourselves, because we are so afraid of facing the music, facing the truth, that all of this stupid nonsense, it's exactly that and nothing more. Stupid nonsense, right? You're a kid and you reach a certain age and you have to do this. You get an ID, you have a special celebration for whatever reason. You get your driver's license, you do this, I don't know, you go to a school dance, you graduate, whatever. All these things. We finally get, a partner. And we're all so hyped. We're all so excited. We have such high expectations. And we dedicate ourselves 1,000,000,000%. And most people are such cowards that they will never confess that most of the time, all of these things were disappointing and are disappointing. No matter, listen, people cannot lie to me. Right? I see through the bullshit, and on this channel, hypocrisy will never be tolerated. I have seen young couples, I have seen older couples, I have seen people who are, married, people who aren't married. They put on a show. Listen, you have to observe, the eye signals. You have to observe the subtle gesticulations and mannerisms. You have to listen closely to the tone, how these two people converse with one another. Listen, they're putting on a show, but if you pay attention, you realize that most couples, married or otherwise, they can't stand each other. Right? They can't stand each other. They're almost disgusted and irritated by each other. After a while, after that excitement, that puppy love, goes away, people get bored of each other, but they're such cowards that they can't tell. They can't just say it and move on with their pathetic lives. Okay? I've seen this. Nobody can lie to me. There are exceptions, of course, but they are extremely rare. Right? Right. Most couples, if you pay close attention, they can't stand each other, but they're so afraid of being alone, so afraid of facing life alone at a certain age or whatever, that they will not, separate, even though they can't stand each other. That is why most people stay together. It's not because of the kids or because of a financial situation. Those are all poor excuses. Most people stay together, even though they can't stand each other, is because they are afraid of facing life alone. They're afraid of being alone. They're afraid of darkness. They're afraid of silence, right? All of these things are disappointing, and they're sad banalities. And I have to repeat myself, those rare exceptions that should be priceless, that should be cherished by people, those especially are turned into generalities, into trivialities. Those are treated like, you know, like everything else, you know. At the beginning they have this excitement, but after a while they can't stand, you know, being married, having kids, you know, going to their job, being around people. At the beginning, most people are excited by this, but but after a while, right? You know, parents can stand their children, children can stand their parents, you know, spouses can stand each other, neighbors, family members. At the job, there's always tension, there's always friction, right? But they put on this theater because the truth of the matter, you know, it destroys them. It shocks them to the core that all of this, everything they strive for, everything they worked so hard for, most of them are sad banalities, you know. People work so hard to buy an amazing house, an amazing car. They get these incredibly expensive outfits. They put them on, they get these possessions, and for a short period that is temporary, they are in cloud nine, but after that temporary period, they realize that it will never satisfy them. They will never be happy, and that is why most people keep on chasing whatever it is that they chase. Right? Everything is boring. Everything is a disappointment, with few exceptions, right? I mean, when I heard this expression, life is a parade of sad banalities, if you are awake, this expression should clarify everything. Should clarify everything, right? Think about your own life, and, you know, when you were younger and you were, you know, a bit forced to do certain things, you know, holidays, whatever, doesn't matter. Use whatever example you want, and you were so upset, you took it so seriously, and maybe your parents took it even more seriously, or your teachers, or whatever. And now you look back at all those things that worried you so much, that stressed you out so much, and now you realize they were so banal, so mundane, so commonplace, so below average, and most of all, they were sad and pathetic things. And because now you know this truth, nothing should ever stress you out again. Nothing should make you sad again, especially not this stupid bullshit, right? It's how it should be. You know, facts. Facts. You know, people get so worked up about the holidays, or, you know, that they have to baptize their kid, or because they have to go to, you know, the in-laws, or, oh boy, it's Thanksgiving, or, you know, they have to redecorate their house or apartment, and what carpet, and what color. Oh boy, these are sad banalities. So sad. And people get so worked up over them. You know, people go on dates, and they go to bars and cafes, and they go for walks, and they talk about nothing. And they're so invested. They're so giddy. You know, they're so hype. And I don't understand why. Right? It's so sad when you see so many people just getting so fanatical over the most banal things possible. Like, I think it was yesterday, I went to work, and apparently there was this local soccer match, and everybody was talking about it like it was fucking another crusade or whatever. And I was looking at these people, and I had no idea what they were talking about. I didn't participate in the conversation, and I was not interested at all. I was completely indifferent, uninterested, unimpressed. What is this dumb shit? What is this dumb shit? Right? And now, because I'm so, you know, unimpressed, so indifferent to everything, right? You know, sometimes, rarely, unfortunately, I interact with people sometimes, and they, ask the, the classic questions about, what I've been doing, etc., etc., and I tell them I don't do nothing. I don't do nothing, and I'm the happiest person in the world, right? Buddha ain't got nothing on me, right? And they keep on pestering me. Why don't I get a partner? Why don't I get a car? Why don't I travel when I get my vacation? Why don't I go to the beach or, go to cafes or, go overseas or whatever? And I tell them straight up, life is a parade of sad banalities. All of this stupid bullshit. It's unimpressive, uninteresting. It's, you can do whatever you want, of course. And this, I think I'll end this video with this. Because people, you've noticed this, if you are different, if you don't do all of the lame bullshit that most people do, they're a bit startled by this. They have to pester you and persuade you to do exactly as they do, because otherwise, if we aren't exactly the same, all of us, then they are insecure. They might think that their choices in life might not be the right ones, so they have to force you to do exactly as they do, right? People can't accept that some people refuse to do all of this stupid bullshit. Listen, recently, some dude that I know, he was planning on going to the beach, and I received an invitation, and he was so giddy, so overhyped. He was, oh boy, we're gonna see this and we're gonna see that and we're gonna go on the beach and we're gonna drink beer and oh boy, right? Meanwhile, I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, I'm not interested at all, buddy. I prefer my own comfort, in the privacy of my own home. I don't have time for this stupid bullshit. I'm not 12 years old anymore, right? This is so juvenile, right? And he just couldn't understand why I wouldn't go to the beach, right? Because to him, he's an older dude. To him, going to the beach and doing all the, repetitive stuff, to him, this was the peak, the pinnacle of his existence. He didn't know anything that was superior or better. To him, this was nirvana, Shambhala, this was pure bliss to him. So sad, so pathetic, And because I refused and told him upright that this is, some goofy shit, he was kind of getting a bit nervous. He was incapable of conceiving that perhaps someone like me might think in a different way, right? He couldn't understand that I had absolutely no interest in this, journey, adventure, whatever, right? And then I find out that all he did was, sleep, eat, drink, and sit in the sun and go to bars. Incredible. Such a unique experience. Oh boy, right? And he took pictures of absolutely everything. Oh boy. And there was sand, and there was the sea, and sometimes it was hot, sometimes it was cold, good weather, bad weather, some really fucking crazy shit, right? I mean, hello? Huh? Right? Like, I believe that you have, it's a good thing to experience these things, because afterwards you realize how disappointing they are, and then you can grow the fuck up and move on with your life. But most people, they don't grow up and they don't move on. They're still so juvenile in their mindset. They do the same thing a billion times, and every time they lie to themselves that this is a unique experience. That every time they think that something's gonna change for the better. They're so hopeful. They're so optimistic. And they come back, of course they come back miserable, but they put on the theater. They pretend. And I don't have the energy to pretend. And I think this is how I'm going to end the video. This is my thesis. How do so many people have the energy, the motivation to not only do all of these things, but also to pretend like they're happy, that they pretend that what they've done is extraordinary? I don't have the energy, bro. I'm so exhausted. Just existing, just being alive, just being a human being. To me, it's the most exhausting thing possible. I ain't got the energy for some dumb shit, right? I ain't got the energy, nor the interest for lame-ass conversation about nothing. Chit-chat, small talk, right? Life is a parade of sad banalities, right? When I think about my younger self, I was so delusional that these things that are so simple and basic, I took them so seriously. I exaggerated and aggrandized, like we all do at that age, but I moved on finally, right? So silly nonsense, silly nonsense. I thought that, being in high school and all of that, and gossip, and being around people my age, and all of this, going in town, I thought that this was fucking some serious shit, and I thought that what we were doing and what we were talking about was fucking, oh boy, so serious and, relevant, And then you look around yourself. You look outside your window. You look at people, and then you finally realize that nothing has changed. People still do the same shit that they did 20 years ago when they were fucking teenagers. Most people don't learn from nothing. They have absolutely no awareness whatsoever. Right? Listen, folks. The truth of the matter is this. Life is boring, and people are the most boring of all. Period. Facts. Anyone who has the audacity to refuse, to reject this is a clown. And I ain't got time for that nonsense, right? People are free to do whatever they want. They can play act, they can role play, they can pretend, and they can put on this theatrical facade and charade. It's their life. But I refuse to pretend. I refuse to pretend because I have zero tolerance for hypocrisy, and I refuse to lie to myself. Right? It's called having conviction. It's called having integrity. Right? And this is, just a little idea or a hint or a clue. Most people are just so cool with lying not only to themselves but to lie to everybody else. They think that having a religion is a big fucking idea. It's a big fucking deal. They think that going to church every Sunday is a big fucking deal. They think that if they pray a couple of times each day, they think that it's a good idea. They think it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. Right? People think that these religious or social rituals have any depth. They don't. It's a circus, right? People think that if they engage in politics and they know politics and they keep a tab on politics, they think that they know something. They think that they're doing something. People think that if they recycle, they think that they're saving the world. No, you ain't at all, right? And on it goes. Being involved in society, in the community, in the neighborhood, in the country's many, enterprises. All of this. Most people, the masses, they believe that this is some fucking incredibly deep and important shit. It ain't. It ain't at all. Right? People occupy themselves with these stupid rituals and all of these silly, what you might even call them, role play. theatrics. They occupy themselves with this stuff because they don't have anything real in their lives. Listen, this is what I always say. Most people, they don't have any internal resources. They have nothing genuine on the inside. So therefore, they rely on the exterior. They are dependent and even addicted to the exterior. It doesn't matter how superficial, shallow, and even artificial. It doesn't matter how superficial it is. It's something to them because they don't have anything to rely upon on the inside. They ain't got no internal resources, right? They ain't got no self-awareness, right? They ain't got no conscience. And when you tell them the truth, the simple truth, life is a parade of sad banalities. What we do here in this world, in this life, is a fucking joke, right? Life is boring. People are the most boring of all. Life is worth losing, etc., right? They don't understand this. They cannot compute, right? They cannot compute. It's unimaginable. They don't have the capacity, right? They're so far gone that to them, all of this ridiculous and ludicrous, all of this ridiculous claptrap, they think that this is it, that this is the holy grail, folks. They think that there's nothing else but this, and they think that this is the way to be, because what else is there? What else is there? Emptiness, darkness, silence, the nothingness, the abyss, the void, That's what's out there. That is the alternative, and it has done wonders for me, folks. I've never been so happy in my life. I'm so tranquil, right? The only thing that kind of just a bit irritates me is pure dumbness. I cannot stand pure dumbness. And pure dumbness today is an ample supply on every square foot, right? But anyway, right? Most people cannot, conceive of the fact that all of this, life itself, existence, everything in life, everything in nature, including ourselves, is, mid at best, meh at best. They cannot imagine such a thing because only somebody that's a moron, that doesn't have anything here, mindless, dumb. Only the mindless and the dumb can possibly envision that all of these things that we do here, and all of these things that we occupy ourselves with, only a moron can envision that all of this is, the apex, the pinnacle, the zenith, the apogee of quality, excellence, When in fact, if you have any honesty and a bit of courage, you will realize that it ain't, folks. This ain't it. Okay? This is not top tier. Okay? Listen, I think I was inspired to make this video because unfortunately I have to leave the comfort of my home from time to time to do whatever. And I unfortunately observe people on the street and what they do. And I look around and I just see people being so invested in these sad banalities, in this parade of sad banalities. They plan their routes. They talk about, I'm going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to wake up at this and we're going to go there and we're going to do this. And let's talk about this. And oh boy. And all the while I'm just like, I'm in another dimension almost. I ain't got no time for this. I ain't got no energy for this. It's simple. right? These are straight up facts. Straight up facts. And I guess people are so reliant and on all of this banality and mediocrity is because, of course, I think we all know that after this life, what awaits us is, nothingness. And it scares them. So because of this, because death is always, one step behind us, I guess this is the reason why most people, are in love with silly bullshit. Because we all know that nothing will come after this life. So they, cling on to all of this plastic, residue. Right? Because they're so scared of emptiness, of nothingness, And to me, that nothingness is absolutely out of this world beautiful. Right? Nothingness should be cherished. Nothingness should be worshipped almost. Because there is peace and quiet in nothingness. Right? Life is a parade of sad banalities. And you only have to look for a second at what people do, what people think, what people talk about, for this to be confirmed without a shadow of a doubt. Okay? If you like this content, and if you want to support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. Thanks for watching, and keep on thinking for yourself, joining the hive mind, I don't think it's an option for people like us, okay? But that's about it. See ya!